Old China Trade. Merchant ships took otter skins, wine, turpentine, and Hawaiian wood with them, and brought back tea, china, and silk from China. In Europe at that time, it was a symbol of nobility to be able to use Chinese porcelain cups to taste Chinese tea. This Old China trade lasted for more than half a century, until the outbreak of the Opium War in 1844. China's Queen Merchant Ship. According to the article, early Chinese who crossed the ocean and entered the United States, written by Yingping Yu, the American three-masted merchant ship Queen of China, set out from New York on February 22nd, 1784, and arrived in Guangzhou, China, on August 28th after a half-year voyage. From then on, the direct trade between China and the United States began. The first 3 Chinese people to arrive in the United States. During the Queen of China docking in Guangzhou, a daring Irish adventurer named John O'Donnell and his merchant ship, Pallas, also translated as Goddess of Wisdom, happened to be in Guangzhou. The ship owner travels between India and China all year round. He learned about the business opportunities in the United States through the captain of the Queen, so he quickly bought a large number of Chinese goods in Guangzhou and recruited 3 crew members from Taishan, Guangdong in Guangzhou, along with other Indian and Southeast Asian crew members to serve the Pallas. In January of 1785, the Pallas set sail from Guangzhou for the United States, which was the first merchant ship to sail directly to the United States from Guangzhou. The merchant ship entered Baltimore, Maryland on August 9th of 1785. However, the captain, who made a fortune, decided not to continue doing business in China. He didn't even pay the crew to travel home, causing them to live on the streets of Baltimore. A businessman named Levi Hollingsworth reached out and took them to Philadelphia, submitting an application to the top legislator at the time, the Continental Congress, to fund the sailors. According to historical records, 3 sailors stayed on the East Coast, becoming the first Chinese to settle in the United States. Chinese Juvenile Cemetery in Boston Park. On September 1798, a 19-year-old Chinese sailor named Chao Zhou from the Mike in Boston Harbor fell to his death from the ship's mast, and the ship's owner buried him at the Central Burial Grounds in Boston Park. The name of the ferry owner is John Boyd Jr. He was born in Boston, and his father was an early sailor from England. John's father explored the Columbia River in Washington state with a partner from the Columbia River. Together, they caught beavers and sold them to China while importing tea and silk to the United States. He traveled around the world between 1794 to 1796 and is the forerunner of the Old China trade. Ah Fang Mei, the first Chinese woman to arrive in the United States. In 1834, a small-footed woman named Ah Fang Mei was brought to the United States by Brother Khan, a merchant of the ship Washington. She was the first Chinese woman on record to set foot in the United States. The Khan brothers decorated a salon in Chinese style at Park Place 8, a commercial area in the city, and presented this 16-year-old Ah Fang Mei as a Qing dynasty princess, the king's daughter, to entertain decent gentlemen and ladies. Salon tickets are 25 cents. The completely different appearance and living habits attracted the curiosity of Westerners. The Kahn brothers' approach was criticized by the media at the time, saying it was inhumane to display people alongside merchandise. According to historical records, Ah Feng Mei, accompanied by a translator, went to Philadelphia and Washington, was met by U.S. President Andrew Jackson, and then settled in Boston. The earliest advertisement for Chinese statues. In the 1840s, in order to attract customers while also emphasizing the authentic tea origin, the owner of the Boston Rueting Tea Shop purposefully placed an authentic, half-life Chinese statue directly in front of the store. At that time, Boston's population was no more than 140,000 in total. The earliest Chinese tea merchants. In 1850, Emperor Daoguang of China died and Emperor Xiangfeng ascended to the throne. While in the United States, Yashao became the owner of 2 tea shops. One was in Albany, New York. The other was in downtown Boston. In 1851, Yashao participated in the London Industrial Fair, held at the Crystal Palace in London, and acted as a translator for the Chinese booth. After returning from the British Exposition, Yashao married a German-American woman named Louisa at St. Matthew's Church in South Boston in 1853, after he was baptized as a Christian. Major American media have published this breaking news. In 1860, Yashao was the first Chinese to become an American citizen. He also became the first American voter appearing with a Chinese name. In May 1878, his wife, who lived with Yashao for 25 years and raised a pair of children together, died. In September of the same year, Yashao bid farewell to Boston and returned to his hometown in Guangdong. The pictures show the advertisements of Yashao in Albany, New York, and the Boston tea shops.